So we're going to watch the ES1, the S&P Mini Futures. Why? Because what the S&P does, and specifically the futures, will have a direct correlation to Bitcoin. They move in tandem. Okay, S&P Mini Futures, let's break it down right now. So we were in this bull pennant. We wanted to break to the upside on the 5. We didn't. We actually hit resistance and we fell to the downside. Not a good look. So we wanted to see that pump, and instead we hit resistance and we dumped down, all right? Now, it didn't happen. Look, the 15-minute was oversold down here, came up, sideways, and then just dumped on you to the downside. Now, we are expecting a bit of a bounce, but that's just not that healthy, right? Well, look at the S&P. You have major support here. Ever since you broke above the zone, you've been making this rising wedge, see? And look, you just fell out of it to the downside. Very similar to what Bitcoin did, okay? And you're dumping to the downside now. 15-minute is pointing down. That's not healthy for Bitcoin. The S&P is going to continue to dump here on the 15-minute time frame. So even if Bitcoin's down, it's going to pin Bitcoin, and I see more downside. So zoom in here. See, you got a bit of a bear flag forming. And that, to me, wants to dump to the downside just like Bitcoin on the 5. So bearish times for the S&P. Broke back below 43, got rejected by the 4,300 zone. We don't want to see it go below 42. That was a big support zone that we broke above. Look, if you look left here, we had broke above this area, broke above this area. Right there, 42.44. Wow, I was talking about this when we first got to it because you look at it here. Sorry, it's hard to show because the S&P is so dang big and there's just so much price action. But look, we had resistance here, resistance there. Bit of a chop there, so you knew that was an area you had to get above, and you had heavy resistance right here. So when the S&P started to move, look, and then resistance, and I kept saying, well, we got to get back above that resistance. Like, if we can't break this resistance, no good. And so we were focused on that area. When we got to it, we got rejected. We came back up, but we blasted through it. This was just the other day, remember? We got above this resistance. It was a big deal. Sorry, I moved that line. We got above this resistance. It was a big deal. We moved. We bounced back up. Then we had our next set of resistance to get above, and we got above that one. So it's not the worst thing in the world, but I just would like to see the S&P hold structure, all right? Let's take a look at our daily time frame, which is extremely overbought in the S&P. A pullback is coming. We've had a run. Think about it. Bitcoin went from 17 all the way to 25. We've had a bit of a run, right? S&P went all the way from 36 all the way back up to 43.50. We've had a nice run, everybody. We did break a big resistance. So here's the deal. We can pull back. That's healthy. That's fine. The trend is still intact. Low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. Bitcoin just must now put in a higher low on the S&P. The daily can reset, but we cannot go lower than this green zone. So let's look for the S&P to make a bit of a flag here on the daily time frame, touch the 21-day moving average, and continue to the upside. Little bit of a pullback for Bitcoin, back to possibly 23.6, maybe even 22,500, because there's going to have to be some pullback here. So looking for a move back to the downside on the daily time frame for the S&P, where we just don't want it to be too brutal. Look at the 4 hour, and the 4 hour is heading oversold. It's a pretty good sign that we could kind of maybe make some magic here. So 4 hour oversold, not the worst, not too bad. We could go lower though. We don't want to break this green zone. We break this green zone, that will be heavy trouble for Bitcoin. Heavy trouble. So my line in the sand. So we're going to watch the ES1, the S&P Mini Futures. Why? Because what the S&P does, and specifically the futures, will have a direct correlation to Bitcoin. They move in tandem, basically. This might move a couple minutes before Bitcoin, and you can slightly front run it. All right. Again, too, they're making price action really sideways lately, and it's been some sketchy times. This happens a lot in the summer. Summer months are very, very strange, low liquidity. So it's easier for someone with big bags to kind of move the market around. So we want this flag to play out and for the S&P to break to the measured move of 46.43. We'll keep you updated as this occurs. We basically need this to happen for Bitcoin to remain bullish. So I do see a bit of a pullback, right? How long it'll take. But the 1 hour and the 4 hour want to pop too. So that's interesting, right? I mean, it's interesting. We're getting some mixed signals here. Can make this even a little smaller, but so I'm watching the S&P very closely. And I'm watching the close areas look like this. Previous resistance, bounce. So can you hold that now? Previous resistance, bounce. 15 minutes says no way, right? You're about to get doused. But could get flipped by the 7, which is low. Interesting. So that's why I make my flags, and I do not do anything until the flag either breaks or I either aggressively buy the bottom of the flag when it touches the 21 and I have divergence and low stochastic, or I see that we get up here and we don't break above the previous high and the stochastics get high, and then I short. So if the stochastics get high and we don't really break above the zone, I short. If the stochastics get low and we're at the bottom of the pattern and there's divergence, I long. So by watching this flag, I'm able to figure out what's going to happen in the next few hours. All right. It's really, really great way to trade. And I've perfected that as my trading style, right?